Hello, BookTube. All right, I'm back, and I apologize. Yesterday was a one-video day. I don't know how normal BookTubers do that. I had a huge amount of stuff crowded on me, in addition to which I had company over, a promising young novelist. We had a wonderful time eating food and drinking wine and talking books and the publishing and writing world uh, all night long. So I got a lot done during the day. I did a lot of important errands, and I had a great social time. And the only piece that was missing from that puzzle was you. I did those things rule out time for videos. So I thought one way to make it up to you would be a nice big mail haul. I have a nice big mail haul here. We'll go through all these packages. We'll see what's new. We'll see what might be interesting. It ends in not one, but two boxes, and one of the boxes is huge. I can't imagine what it would be. I've got my trusty assistant here. We just went on a nice long walk. Frieda surprised me by being okay going to the Arboretum. She ordinarily doesn't like that at all. She's ordinarily not an outdoorsy type dog. But she not only agreed to go, but she seemed enthusiastic the whole time. It was tactically a mistake. I mean, she enjoyed it. We both enjoyed it, but it was tactically a mistake. It's a gray, overcast day, and all of the lower pathways in the Arboretum were just oceans of mud. And all the upper pathways are still shin deep in snow. So it really isn't the time yet. In a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, in a month, the Arboretum will be dry and clear and starting to bud out, and birds will be returning. It'll actually be fun. The only drawback then on visits like that are ticks. I have a tiny little dog. You would never know it from the way she acts, but I have a tiny little dog, and she's very close to the ground. So even when she was a puppy, she got ticks quite a bit. I had that problem with my Basset Hound, Lucy, as well. She was very low to the ground. But ticks weren't really a problem with her because, like everything else, they couldn't reach any vitals. They hopped onto her and were just a swim in vast oceans of flab, so they were easy to find and remove. So Frieda, I'll put up with it. We'll put up with some ticks and some tick removal and whatnot for the beauties of the Arboretum in season, but it's not in season yet. It was a tactical mistake. It's just a little bit less cold today, so we both wanted to stretch our legs. There are plenty of ways to do that don't involve mud, so tomorrow our big walk will be in a very different direction. But she's here now, and I think she's keyed up. She'll probably be okay for some packages. Yes. Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. We've seen this before on this channel. I did not know. I guess I forgot that this was going to be a paperback original. This is due in early April, and I've already read it. I really liked it, and now the paperback original is beautiful. This is by Bionic, and it is Hold Fast Your Crown. And it's going to be this. It's going to be $17? Yeah, $18, an $18 paperback with the French flaps, nice solid bounding, in early April in your bookstore. This is contemporary fiction. In his first novel set in the United States, let's see, award-winning author Yannick Heinel pens a novel perfect for fans of Jonathan Safran Foer and Michael Chabon, touching the real and the fantastic in full breath. Okay, all right. It was shortlisted for the Prix Goncourt, and it is a whimsical novel that reads like a Wes Anderson film about an exasperated writer who composes an exhaustive and brilliant screenplay about the life of Herman Melville that absolutely no producer is interested in. He has an elaborate idea of persuading legendary filmmaker Michael Cimino to sign on and produce, and miraculously acquires his phone number, flies to New York to meet him, and then endures months of silence. His existence dissipates into a routine of obsessively watching Apocalypse Now and waiting for a hidden sign to come to him in the film. Getting drunk in his apartment, maintaining suspicions of the two shady mustached men who are checking up on him, and dog-sitting a Dalmatian named Sabat. That is, until he is invited to dinner months later with the man who gave him the phone number, and the day in New York with the director is fully unpacked amidst an adventurous night in itself. And I liked it. I can't remember. Is this translated? Yes, this is translated from the French by Teresa Fagan. And she does a fantastic job, because I never detected translationese anywhere in this. Instead, it's just a caper novel, but it's got lots of brains behind it. I can see why it would appeal to judging committees. And those of you who are film buffs will really like this as a novel. I'm not a film buff, and I liked it, but I even as I was reading, I could see, okay, if you were an insider who thought this director was brilliant, maybe thought his films were brilliant, then you would really, really like this book. So, all right, so we're off to a start. Contemporary fiction in a pretty trade paperback. There's no way on Earth or any other planet that this should cost $18. There is no way that that should be true. This is $6 at most, but even so, it's better than $35. So what have we got here? Oh, okay. Okay, this is also April, I believe. No, this is late March. This is William Bryant Logan, Sproutlands. This is his book, Tending the Endless Gift of Trees. And you have wood on the spine. And that's just what it is. I've already read this, and I really liked it. At the heart of Sproutlands, the author's luminous meditation on the nature of people and trees lies a mystery. When Logan's company was hired to train dozens of new trees in front of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, 40 were to be pollarded London plane trees. Pollarding is an ancient way of pruning that prompts thick nests of sprouts to form on major branches. He asked colleagues for advice on how to encourage the trees to sprout, but no one seemed to know. There's a deep irony here, as pollarding and the similar practice of coppicing has been the preeminent way in which humans have tended trees from the last ice age to the Industrial Revolution. Somehow that knowledge had vanished, and now even a renowned arborist and naturalist like Logan could not learn how to perform what would have seemed the most mundane task to a villager in the Middle Ages. And that description, actually, it sounds incredibly wonky because this is an incredibly wonky book, but it really gives you a flavor for the way this author just shuttles effortlessly from the past to the present. It's just a very good reading experience. I can't help but think now about the Frieda and I just came through one of the finest arboretums anywhere in America. That is tended to by an arborist college right next door. We passed through the parking lot of the building on our way out of our trek. There must be people there that know all about this. Boy, oh boy, if I had Moxie, I would go and ask if there's somebody there who wants to review this, a specialist who wants a book review to their name. It's never a bad thing to have writing credits to your name. And there must be specialists in that building who know every detail of what's in this book. Whereas a lot of the details that I encountered, if I review this, and I will almost certainly be the one who reviews this, if I review this, I will have to go at it from a completely different angle. I will have to go at it from the writing, the spirit, the use of history, that sort of thing, but not from a specialist angle. And it might be fun to get a specialist angle, but such is not to be. So let's charge on. What have we got here? Okay. Okay, this is from Viking. I can't remember if we saw this on this channel or not. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, you're giving me tons of paperwork here. And this comes out in early April. I have tons and tons of paperwork here. This is by Sonia Purnell, and it is A Woman of No Importance, the untold story of the American spy who helped win World War II. Look at that cover. That is awesome. I ordinarily rail against black and white photos, faded photos from historical archives, but if you're going to pick one, that's the one to pick. I don't think we're getting, we've seen a number of books on this kind of, the espionage world of World War II. In the last year and a half, there have been a little spate of such books, but I don't know that we saw this one. In 1942, as World War II was raging, the Gestapo sent out an urgent message. She is the most dangerous of all Allied spies. We must find and destroy her. They weren't talking about Deb. The spy was Virginia Hall, a young American who, rejected from the Foreign Service because of her gender and a prosthetic leg, talked her way behind enemy lines in occupied France and went on to become one of the greatest and most unlikely spies in U.S. history. I don't think I got an advance copy of this, but I have talked to two people who have read this book who both loved it, so I'm looking forward to it. And it's right around the corner, so I could actually get to it today. I could get to it today. All right, let's see. Let's move on here. Lots more to do. Okay, what is this? New from Dutton? Will this be an April book? Are all my books going to be April? Uh, date. I need a date. Don't hide it from me. Yes, April. Okay. All right. This is by David Dow, and it is Confessions of an Innocent Man. Yet another good cover, complete with the plane in the air there. A debut. David Dow is no stranger to the criminal justice system. As the founder and director of the Texas Innocence Network, which works to exonerate inmates who did not commit the crimes for which they are wrongfully convicted, and the Juvenile Capital and Advocacy Project, Dow and his team have represented well over 100 death row inmates during their state and federal appeals. His job is often devastating, but he continues this important work because he maintains the belief that overturning erroneous decisions is possible. And we occasionally see that, so he's right. When an evil act is committed, public perception of the suspect is often shaped by the accused person's background. An accused who has committed other crimes is a bad guy. An upstanding member of the community is a good guy. But what happens when somebody who's usually perceived as a good guy, maybe it's a judge or police officer, is the one who does the terrible thing? In his heart-wrenching, chilling, psychological fiction debut, Dow questions societal acceptance of responsibility and justice. The novel's protagonist, a Mexican-American chef, is tried, convicted, and sentenced to death for the murder of his wife. His story mimics many that Dow has seen in his work, and that will be the problem. That's the potential problem of this book, because this is, I mean, I rail against it when it's auto-fiction, when an author thinks, well, if I lived it, then it's a great story, and doesn't need to bring any of the arsenal of fiction to bear on getting it down on paper, because they think their ultimate defense will be, well, it really happened. And that's no defense at all, and that leads to a great many horrible novels. And the question here will be, does David Dow understand that this is not a nonfiction tract about the injustices of the American criminal justice system with a few quotation marks added? This has to be a novel. It has to work as a novel. And we shall see. We'll see if he gets that. Okay, he's got a mighty good cover photo. Oh, Zubu, Zubu. All right, so a debut in April, Confessions of an Innocent Man. All right. All right, let's move on here. What do we got here? What do we got next? This one is fairly heavy. Probably another finished copy, probably for April. Oh, the bean seems to have given up. Oh, my. Oh, okay. This is due in late March 26th. It seems like that must be the last Tuesday in the month, March 26th. This is Wings in the Light, Wild Butterflies in North America by David Lee Myers. This is a gorgeous nature book about butterflies. Oh my. Okay, so it's species by species, and it's full of photos, and it's also natural history, predation, mating, migration, all that kind of thing. It's just a book on butterflies. Wow, fantastic. Okay, great. All right, so this goes to the front of the pile right away. All right, let's move on. Oh, yes. Oh, Frieda has definitely given up. She might show up later in the mail hall, but she's given up. Okay, this is the finished copy, late getting to me. This is the English language translation of The Cook by Melis de Carangal. It came out last month. Tiny little thing, a novella. Again, translated from the French. So we have two books translated from the French, and it describes what is best described as a poetic profile. Okay, but it's actually a novel, so it better be described that way. It's the story of Morrow, a young chef, or alchemist rather, who melts and caramelizes ingredients in the kitchen and whose life is similarly transformed along the way. I had an advance copy of this, and I kind of sort of ignored it. Now I have this thing, and I think this is out already, long since, so I'll just have to, I mean, this isn't going to take any time at all to read, so I'll have to make that time now. Let's see what's next here. Oh my, okay. Okay, this next one comes to me without a pub sheet. It's by Darrell West, and it's Divided Politics, Divided Nation, Hyper-Conflict in the Trump Era. So this one doesn't, we've seen a lot of these books. This one doesn't even bother to hide the fact that it's entirely motivated by the election of Donald Trump. And it has a blurb from George Stephanopoulos. What have we got here? Americans are caught in a partisan hyper-conflict that divides politicians, communities, and even families. The author, who grew up in the conservative rural Ohio community, went on to teach the liberal Ivy League and spent years working in the heart of Washington, D.C. In this book, he draws on that personal history to explore the political, economic, and cultural aspects of this polarization. It's a thin thing. So, Divided Politics, Divided Nation, there is virtually no chance that this thing will have anything in it that I have not read in, by now, almost 36 books like this. But the author's voice, it sounds like he's going to draw on what used to be a fairly typical cross-partisan upbringing. It used to be that bubbles weren't possible, so you had a life and a CV like the one that is described there. It sounds like he's going to draw on that a lot. That's probably the distinctive element of this book. The larger subtext, though, Trump bad, that, to put it mildly, has been covered. Yes, somebody has a second wind. Oh, great. Okay. Great. This is a paperback of that biography of Tiger Woods. This is the paperback. Comes out in probably April. Yeah, April. This is by Jeff Benedict and Armin Ketchian, and I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I think it made my list of the best biographies of 2018. Totally unexpected for me. I don't care about golf. I don't care about Tiger Woods, but I thought the book was incredibly good. And here it is. Here it has a paperback with blurbs from Leigh Montville, from Dwight Garner. I doubt that I am blurbed in here, but Jeffrey Toobin is. Great, fantastic. Okay, the paperback of this. It's good because I don't think that I still have the hardcover. I'm pretty sure the hardcover went on its way to a golf enthusiast. So it's good to have the paperback. All right, let's move on here. We are drawing closer and closer to the boxes. Oh no. Okay. Okay, this is actually a double. This was a phenomenon in Australia. This is Trent Dalton's debut novel, Boy Swallows Universe. And let's see here. This debut novel falls into the hallowed canon of novels that stake out very special space in itself. It's moving, brilliant, quirky, funny, haunting, and opens up new horizons. Slow down there, Seymour. It's just a book, first of all. And second, I'll be the judge of all of that, not you. As told by the unforgettable, clear-eyed child narrator Eli Bell, Boy Swallows Universe is a coming-of-age story, an adventure story involving prison breaks both in and out, and a novel that affirms the human spirit. And most surprisingly of all, it's based on the author's own upbringing in the depressed Brisbane suburb, the child of heroin dealers and the babysitting charge of Australia's most celebrated prison escapee, Arthur Slim Halliday. Okay. All right, so this is April, right? This was a bestseller in Australia. And now it has an English an American edition. The date, yes, is April 2nd. Okay, April 2nd must be the first Tuesday of the month. And we shall see. I have a worry about this book. It's a large worry about this book, but I'm not. I'm going to try not to let the worry poison the reading. But you can probably guess my worry right from the beginning. Which is that this is published by Harper, not Harper Teen, even though this is obviously a YA novel, and I don't like that. I don't want YA fiction sort of creeping its way into the adult fiction list. They're two different things, and saying that they're not is a means of racking the one and dumbing down the other. So we will see. The way this is packaged, the way I've heard about it, the excerpts that I have read, all says that this is a YA novel. So if I start to read it and it's mostly slang and mostly pop culture references from the minute that the author was typing the final revision of the draft, so 9-month-old pop culture references. If it's mostly dialogue, if the dialogue is mostly obscenities, if the universe, if every single thing comes to revolve around the main character's love life, and yet there is never any gesture made by the author or by the publisher or anything like that this is categorized wrong, then I'm going to be upset. But first I have to read it and see. So I'm actually going to do that today. I have the thing on my launch pad. Now I have a second copy. Boy Swallows Universe. Okay. Yes. Ooh. Another thing I noticed when we got back from our epic stroll out in the wilderness is that I had been told over and over again by people when I got a Basset Hound. When I found a Basset Hound puppy, I asked all around, I've never had a Basset Hound before. Can you tell me anything about them? And people were kind. they used as many euphemisms as they could for Basset Hound cognitive shortcomings. But one thing they all said, one thing that everybody said was, a lot of people said, you're going to lose your heart. You're not going to know why. There's no reason for it, but it's going to happen. But a lot of people said, one thing you're going to notice and you're going to be glad about it for a dog that's so close to the ground, is that they are easy to clean. Something about their fur. It's just easy to clean. And they were right. And I have a feeling that's not going to be true about miniature schnauzers. I have a feeling that Frieda is going to be the devil to clean. I gave her a basic clean when we got back in, just to wipe the mud off and whatnot. But she's looking a little ragged around the edges. She might need a BATH. And now that it's not sub-zero freezing cold, we can go back to weekly BATHs. All right. Okay. So this is coming out in March 26th. Okay, so these are all either the end of March or April books. And this is by Nicholas Christakis, and it is Blueprint, the evolutionary origins of a good society. Due right away, so I really need to get to this. Our modern world seems riven by polarities. Okay, so that's the common thread here. With divisions that appear to be sharply drawn. Political polarization and economic inequality are at century-long peaks. Our media is saturated with depictions of violence, greed, and hatred, and our scientific communities continually emphasize the dark side of our biological heritage, our capacity for aggression, cruelty, prejudice, and self-interest. Given all this, you could be forgiven for believing that human nature is inherently evil. Yes, you certainly could. But according to the author, who is the sterling professor of social and natural science and the director of the Human Nature Lab at Yale University, this is a mistake. Hence the blurb on the book from Steven Pinker. He draws on groundbreaking research to show how natural selection has given humans a suite of beneficial social features, including the capacity for love, friendship, cooperation, and learning that underlie our innate proclivity to create good societies. I don't know what it is with these people. I really don't. I honestly don't know what it is with this trend in Ivy League academic intellectual circles to write books that talk about the human propensity to create good societies. I don't know what that is. I really don't know where it comes from. I can only assume that on some level it's opportunistic, and these men know that if they say something so completely contrary to not only intuition but to observed reality, that it will generate controversy around their book. It will help book sales. That's the only reason I can come up with. Steven Pinker, of course, The Better Angels of Our Nature is the highest and most shrillest shrieking example of that, of just Panglossy and delusion from page 1 all the way to the end. I'll have to read this and see. I'll have to read this and see. To put it mildly, humanity does not have an innate proclivity to create good societies. To put it mildly. Humans don't have that innate. You don't have to look at the top 10 bad societies. You can just look at any human society that has ever existed in the history of the world. Humans do not have a proclivity to create good societies. They don't. That's just observable reality. There is no way to argue with that. Unless you have a tenure track position at Yale, in which case you can. So this comes out real soon. This comes out in just a couple of weeks. So I'll have to get to it. So I'll have to get to a lot of these things, although nothing's going to take precedence over the Butterfly book. But the Butterfly book is going to take half an hour, so there's room for all. So now we're on to the boxes. There's one that is fairly hefty, but it's light, so it's probably got one book in it. And then the other one is big, and I don't recognize it, so I don't know what that can be. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, okay, this has one book in it. Okay, all right. Okay, this is also a March book, I think. Yes. Oh no, baby, you can't get at the box. No one will be able to hear anything if you're attacking a box. The floor is covered in envelopes. No, baby bean. No, baby bean. Here. The floor is covered in envelopes. You don't need a box. Boy, you are a spoiled little princess, aren't you? Anyway, we've already seen this. This is the finished copy of a book that comes out on March 26th. They all come out on either March 26th or April 2nd. And this is Roseanne Thagan. This is The Cliff House. Lovely thing. We saw this in the advance copy. And in this novel, she whisks readers away to Cape Sanctuary, California, where three women, calculated yet passionate Daisy, her wildly independent sister Bee, and Stella, the aunt who raised them, each find themselves at the crossroads of the lives they know and the potential happiness that awaits them. And they converge on the Cliff House in order to have these. As each woman inches closer to the man who might finally bring her happiness, there's a cast of male characters in here, fairly well drawn, although the three main female characters are infinitely better drawn. They are the reason to read the book. Each of them must also let go of the past and allow herself to finally be happy. I will probably read this again. I read the advance copy. I will probably read this again. It's a lovely finished hardcover with raised letters and sort of ghostly floral patterns there, and of course the photo. And I really liked it. It's a little bit mistimed. It's coming out when there are super snowstorms battering all of the United States, and yet this is a quintessential summer book. It's a quintessential summer read. If you're in the mood, if you're always on the lookout for quintessential summer reads, if those of you know what I mean, a sort of a relationship-y, relatively low stakes, clearly but not challengingly written, escapist fiction, intelligent but not brainy, that sort of thing. A book that is just a good old-fashioned story, multiple layers, multiple subplots, good resolutions at the end, even if they're not happy endings. If you're looking for that sort of thing because you like reading that sort of thing in summer, this is, like, for instance, a friend of mine always describes these as outdoor books because they're meant to be read in the peace and quiet of a beach or a backyard or something like that. If you're looking for something like that and you'd like new suggestions, then my suggestion would be get this book and just don't bother to read it until summer. Just put it away for a couple of months. This is a June book that is showing up in late winter. So, but anyway, then we have the last box. This is it's a big thing. It's light as a feather. Let's see what this could be, and then we'll be done. For now, what have we got here? What on earth is this? Okay. It's from one of you. It's not a book. It's from one of you. Oh, what is this? Okay, please explain what it is. Is there a note? Is there any kind of note? There is a note. There is a note. It's high time Frieda got some mail of her own. And That is what it is. What is that? You can see already. This is definitely well chosen because she is fascinated. But what is it? What is it? Keep occupied. Eliminate boredom. Frieda is never bored. What is this? Hide a squirrel. Stimulates mental play with squeaky fines. What is it, though? I mean, what does it do? Hide a squirrel. How does it work? What is this, baby girl? Huh? What is it? Oh. Well, here, first of all, let's take this tag off, because, you know, you're not going to care about that. And then we'll take this thing off, because you're obviously not supposed to care about that either. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just really slow. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. I mean, yes, it's mail for Frieda, and she is clearly interested. But I mean, it's a tree, and there are squirrels inside who are in a netting. But what am I supposed to take the squirrels out of the netting? Oh. Okay, I don't get it, but I think I'm clearly supposed to take the squirrels out of the netting, but I mean, Frieda's just going to destroy this thing. You're just going to destroy this thing, aren't you? I'll look it up online and see what it is, because it has a wonderful fun note, but it has no explanations at all of what this is. Keep occupied, eliminate boredom. But other than that, I mean, am I supposed to take the squirrels out of the netting and then just leave them in the tree? I don't know. Let's see what happens when I put it on the ground. Oh. Hey, all thought about the packages has been forgotten. Instead, she is just now fascinated with her toy. Well, I don't know who sent it, but thank you very much. That was very nice. And the note will, of course, go in my journal. I will look this up online. This hide a squirrel. Is that what it's called? Hide a squirrel. Stimulates mental play with squeaky fines. I will look this up online and see how it's supposed to work. But in the meantime, that is it. That is the mail, including mail for Frieda. How wonderful is that? So I'll wrap this up for now, but I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.